Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. I will be reading Postmates user agreement, and I'm doing this for two reasons. One is these agreements, these very lengthy agreements, I've read a couple of them. The most popular one was Uber, and I get click-tap history data that says the people that click on it often listen to a significant portion of it. So listeners, warning, if this is of interest to you, you may want to save it till a time where you have time to get through it. I think listening to half of it is probably like listening to none of it. So I think choose the occasion, given the length of this video will be very long. I will break it up if I need to. This is fresh, April 3rd, 2019. Now that would indicate that it was updated within a week of when I'm reading it. And that's just by chance. I did not get a notice that said that they updated. I am brought to Postmates by a different occasion, a reference from a friend and a refreshed memory when I was registered before. So once I begin reading the words of Postmates, I will have no more words of Tom Duty. If I do break or I do reach the end, I will make it clear that I'm no longer reading the words of Postmates. So listener, everything after I stop talking, leave a pause, and then start reading the word fleet agreement, and then I'll repeat the date and say the name Postmates. That's going to be 100% Postmates words, 0% Tom Duty words. So here comes the pause. Postmates, fleet agreement, effective April 3rd, 2019. This fleet agreement, the agreement, effective date, accepted by you, is made and entered into you, between you and Postmates. By entering in this agreement, you also acknowledge that you have read, understood, and voluntarily agreed to Postmates' terms of service, both of which are expressly incorporated herein by reference. Additionally, and for clarity, you and Postmates may be referenced in this agreement as party and together as parties. Important. Please read this agreement carefully. Specifically, the mutual arbitration provision in Section 10. Unless you opt out of arbitration, as provided below, this agreement requires the parties to resolve disputes through final and binding arbitration on the individual basis to the fullest extent permitted by law. By accepting this agreement, you acknowledge that you have read, understood, and voluntarily agree to all terms of this agreement, including the mutual arbitration provision, and that you have taken time and sought any assistance needed to comprehend and consider the consequences of this important business decision. Recitals. Postmates provides and maintains an on-market marketplace and mobile platform on which individual customers, collectively customers, restaurants, retail stores, and other merchants, collectively merchants, independent providers of and delivery services connected to facilitate the purchase, fulfillment, and when applicable, delivery of goods and merchants to customers. You are independently provider of delivery services, authorized and able to satisfy any and all legal requirements necessary to perform the services contemplated by this agreement in the geographical locations which you operate. You understand and agree that you may enter into this agreement either as an individual or a business entity, and you desire to enter into this agreement for the right of access to Postmates in order to receive delivery opportunities as defined in Section 3A below. In consideration of these recitals and the mutual promise below, and other good and valuable consideration, you and Postmates agree to the following. One, purpose of agreement. 1A, the agreement governs the entity relationship between the parties and establishes the parties' respective rights and obligation arising out of this relationship. The parties acknowledge and agree that this agreement is between independent businesses and are separately owned and operated. The parties intend this agreement to create the relationship of principal and independent contractor and not that of employer and employee. Neither party shall have the right to bind the other by contract or otherwise except as specifically provided in this agreement. 1B, nothing in this agreement requires you to accept any delivery opportunities from Postmates, and nothing in this agreement shall be guaranteed. Any particular volume of delivery opportunities or deliveries for any particular time period. 1C, Postmates reserves the right anytime to modify external documents referenced and incorporated in this agreement and any other information referenced via hyperlink. Such modifications all become effective upon posting. Your continued use of Postmates after any such changes shall contribute to your consent to such changes. You acknowledge and agree that if Postmates modified any provision of this agreement, including any information referenced via hyperlink, you will not have a renewed opportunity to opt out of arbitration. You further acknowledge and agree that you accept this agreement does not create renewed opportunity to opt out of arbitration if applicable. 2, your operations. 2A, you understand and agree that in providing any services under this agreement, you are not an employee or customer of Postmates, any merchant selling goods through Postmates, or any customer purchasing goods through Postmates. 2B, you understand that you are not free to select the times. You are free to select the times you wish to use Postmates. You are free to accept, reject, or ignore any particular delivery options made available to you through Postmates. And you have the sole right to control the manner and by means in which you perform deliveries through Postmates. 2C, you represent that, as applicable, you possess all equipment, including mobile telephone, modes of transportation acceptably collectively equipment, and personnel necessary to lawfully provide the service contemplated by this agreement. Moreover, you should agree that you are solely responsible for ensuring such equipment conforms to applicable laws in those pertaining to health, safety, inspection, and operational capability, and you are responsible for all costs and expenses you may incur under this agreement, including but not limited to traffic tickets, tolls, parking fees, inspection, insurance, and other costs related to equipment, except as otherwise required by law. You assume all risks or damage to loss of your equipment. 2D, nothing in this agreement prohibits you, to the extent permitted by law, to subject the terms of this agreement from hiring, subcontracting, or otherwise engaging an other person, a subcontractor, to assist you in performance of the delivery, provided that any such subcontractor accepts the terms of this agreement and separately complies to proceed to receive delivery opportunities from Postmates. You agree to bear sole responsibility for the direction and control of any subcontractor. Specifically, to the extent you engage in subcontracting, unless otherwise mandated by law, you assume full and sole responsibility for the payment of all amounts due to required to be withheld from the subcontractor for work performed under this agreement, including but not limited to wages, benefits, and expenses state and federal income tax, withholding, unemployment insurance, contributions, Social Security taxes. Postmates shall have no responsibility for money or obligations you may owe subcontractors, and neither you nor any subcontractor shall participate in or receive any wage or other benefits available to Postmates employees. The parties acknowledge and agree that any provision for this agreement reserving ultimate authority in Postmates have been inserted solely to achieve compliance with federal, state, or local laws, regulations, or interpretations thereof, and or ensure the safety of Postmates for all users. 2E. Nothing in this agreement shall prevent the parties from any time engaging in similar arrangements or businesses with others, including the parties' direct competitors, and you agree to immediately notify Postmates in writing if you believe you have been restricted in any way by Postmates from engaging with or providing in services to other entities. 2F. You understand and agree that you are not required at any time to wear or use any clothing or equipment provided or bearing Postmates' name or logo, or to purchase, lease, or rent any products, equipment, or services from Postmates. 2G. You agree that before you receive access to Postmates, you will submit to and pass a background check based on your Social Security number. You also agree that it is the sole discretion in accordance with applicable laws. Postmates may require you to submit and pass additional background checks conducted with your consent. 2H. SMS or push communications. SMS and push communications from Postmates, its affiliates, or representative merchants or customers may include but not limited to operational communication concerning your user account, sign-up progress to become a contractor, use of platform or features available on the platform, communication relating to deliveries and delivery opportunities including delivery fees, new concerning Postmates and industry development that affect your relationship with us, and account verification communications with your consent. Postmates may also send you marketing SMS regarding promotion from us to third-party message and data rate apply. 2I. You agree that Postmates is affiliated or is representative many contract you include for marketing purposes from Postmates or our third-party partners where permitted by law, by email, phone, push notifications, SMS, or other comparable means, including the use of automatic telephone dialing systems. The email addresses, phone numbers you provide to Postmates. You agree and consent to SMS and push notifications from Postmates, its partners, affiliates, or representatives, and our merchants or customers that may include but are not limited to operational communication concerning your user account, sign-in progress to use Postmates, use of Postmates or feature available from Postmates. 2, communication relating to deliveries or delivery opportunities including the money paid to you, fees for services provided, news concerning Postmates and industry developments that affect your relationship with Postmates, and account verification, communication, message data rates may apply. You can unsubscribe from Postmates marketing email list by following the unsubscribed options in the marketing email itself. Please be advised if you opt out of marketing emails, Postmates may still send you emails about your account or any transaction between parties. If you wish to opt out of text or SMS messages in response to such a message, you may reply "Stop" from the mobile device receiving the message. You acknowledge that you are not required to consent to receive marketing texts or calls as a condition of performing services using Postmates. Deliveries. 3A. Postmates may notify you of the opportunity to complete a delivery from a merchant to a customer, each a delivery opportunity, and you may have the option to choose automatic acceptance or other preferences for certain delivery opportunities. For a delivery opportunity, you accept each delivery. You agree to try to complete the delivery of the goods purchased by the customer in a free from tampering in the condition intended by the customer and or merchant, according to the terms of this agreement and are otherwise set forth. Fleet Help Center, and in compliance with any or all applicable federal, state, and local laws, rules and regulations, including but not limited to applicable food and health and safety rules, and the regulations, you further agree that for any delivery that includes any age-restricted items, including but not limited to alcohol, tobacco, cigarettes, or vaporizers, you are responsible for ensuring delivery complies with federal, state, and local laws, including but not limited to ensuring the individual accepting the delivery is an individual who placed the order and has provided valid identification and required age, and is not intoxicated. You agree that Postmates may provide you with prepaid debit card and that you can be used to pay for certain deliveries. Any authorized use of this prepaid debit card will be considered theft or fraud. You further agree that if you lose the prepaid debit card, you will report the loss to Postmates immediately. You agree, 3C, you agree that if you fail to complete any delivery, a service failure, Postmates reserves the right to recover the cost incurred by Postmates related to your actions or omissions. You further agree that if you fail to return to a merchant any items that cannot be delivered, a return failure, Postmates reserves the right to recover the costs incurred by Postmates related to the return failure. If you dispute responsibility for service failure or return failure, you agree to resolve the dispute pursuant to payment disputes provision in Section 5 below. 4. Fees for service provided. Unless otherwise notified in writing, Postmates, or as otherwise provided herein, you may receive payment for a complete leg of delivery in the amount listed in the payment schedule for a relevant type of delivery or relevant market as found in the Fleet Help Center. Postmates reserves the right and its sole discretion to change the payment schedule at any time for any reason. You continue use Postmates platform shall constitute your consent to any change. Nothing in this agreement prevents the parties from negotiating a different rate of pay, and you are free to accept, reject, or ignore any delivery opportunities as a means to earn different pay rates. 4B. From time to time, Postmates may, but is not obligated to, offer you additional incentives to complete particular deliveries. Postmates agrees to transmit payments from all complete legs of delivery to you via direct deposit, payment no later than the 7 days after you complete the related delivery, unless otherwise agreed to by the parties. You are responsible for any applicable processing fees associated with such remittance, and you agree to accept transfer or transaction fees applicable for such payments. 4D, customers can pay you a gratuity in cash or via other payment methods. Nothing in this agreement shall prevent you from retaining 100% of any gratuity paid by a customer. PayPal acknowledges it has no right to interfere with the amount of gratuity given to you by a customer. Payment disputes. In the event of service failure or return failure, you agree that you may forfeit all or a portion of the payment as described in Section 4 above, depending on the extent to which the service failure results from your actions or omissions. Any reduction of payment shall be based upon proof provided by the customer. Merchant, you and or other party with information relevant to dispute, Postmates shall make the individual determination as to what percentage of fault you bear, and you shall have the right to challenge Postmates' determination as described in provisions set forth Section 10 and 11 below. In the event Postmates fails to remit payment in a timely or accurate manner, you shall have the right to seek proper payment of any legal means contemplated by this agreement, provided, however, you first inform Postmate in writing of the failure to provide Postmates a reasonable opportunity to cure. Six, reporting your income. 6A. If you earn the minimum income established by the Internal Revenue Service, Postmates shall report all payments to you on a calendar year basis, issuing an IRS Form 1099. 6B. You agree that Postmates may fulfill any tax-related obligations, including but not limited to providing 1099 forms through any means, including by electronic transmission, to the email address associated with your Postmates account, as provided by you. Further, you agree to report all such payments to the appropriate federal, state, and local taxing authorities. 7. Insurance. 7A. At your expense, you shall during the service of this agreement maintain up-to-date insurance of the types and in the amounts equal to or greater than the minimum requirements required by law, jurisdiction in which you provide services as contemplated by this agreement. This includes, but is not limited to, vehicle insurance that is equal to the amount greater than the minimum vehicle insurance coverage amounts, the type required by state, local, or law workers, compensation insurance, or occupational accidental insurance. Postmates may offer you the opportunity to participate in certain group insurance plans made available by third parties provided to you. 7C. You agree to deliver to Postmates upon request up-to-date certifications of insurance as proof of coverage. You agree to make available upon certificates each time you purchase, renew, or alter your insurance coverage. You also agree to give Postmates at least 30-day prior written notification to cancel any insurance required by the agreement. Confidentiality. Your acknowledgement and agreement that you are in performance of this agreement. You may have direct or indirect access or exposure to Postmates' confidential information. Confidential information includes Postmates data, provider ID, user information, customer information, package information, and transaction volume, marketing and business plans, financial, technical, and operations such as non-public information, whether disclosed in writing or verbally, that Postmates designates as being proprietary in confidential or that you shall reasonably know to treat as confidential.
What cup? This? No, it's not for. Don't want to break it.
Eight B, you acknowledge and agree that all confidential information shall remain exclusive property of the Postmates. You shall not use confidential information for any purpose except to complete a delivery. You shall not disclose confidential information to any third party. You shall not keep confidential information and shall return, destroy with confirmation or destruction all confidential information upon the termination of this agreement at Postmates' request. 8C, notwithstanding and foregoing confidential information shall not include any information to the extent it is or becomes part of the public domain through no action or omission by you, was possessed by you prior to the date of this agreement without any obligation or confidentiality, or is disclosed to you third party having no obligation or confidentiality with respect thereto. If you, 8D, if you become legally compelled to disclose any confidential information other than pursuant to confidentiality agreement, you will provide Postmates prompt written notification of such disclosure and will cooperate with Postmates should Postmates seek a protective order or another appropriate remedy. If Postmates waives your compliance with this obligation or fails to obtain a protective order or other appropriate remedy, you will furnish only that portion of the confidential information that is legally required to be disclosed. Provided that any confidential information is disclosed, shall maintain its confidentiality protection for all purpose other than such legally compelled disclosure. 9. Indemnity. You agree to indemnify, protect, and hold harmless Postmates, including all parent, subsidy, or affiliate companies, as well as it and their past, present successors, assigned officers, owner, directors, agents, representatives, attorneys, employees, and collectively indemnities from any or all claims, demands, damages, lawsuits, losses, liabilities, cause of action arising directly or indirectly as you result in connection with your actions of you and or any subcontractor under this agreement, including but not limited to personal injury or death of any person, including you or any subcontractor, any liability arising from your failure to comply with the terms of this agreement, any and all tax liabilities and responsibilities for payment of all federal, state, and local taxes, including but not limited to all payroll taxes, self-employment taxes, workers' compensation, premium, and other contributions imposed on, required under federal, state law, or local laws, you are owed by you with respect to you and or subcontractors using the Postmate platform to complete deliveries and all costs associated with your business, including but not limited to the applicable insurance, local, state, and or federal licensees, permits, taxes, and assessments of any or all regulatory agencies, boards, or municipalities. 9B, you agree your obligations in this agreement shall include the cost of defense, including attorney's fees, as well as a payment of any final judgment rendered against or settlement agreement by Postmates or any other indemnities. 10. Mutual arbitration provision. 10A, arbitration disputes. The parties mutually agree to resolve any disputes between them and exclusively through the final binding arbitration, instead of filing lawsuit in court. Listeners, I read a paragraph of section 10, but I'm going to consider my break the beginning of chapter 10. So if you're with me now and you're going to, if I finish this thing and I resume, I will reread the paragraph I just read. So now my pause to indicate I'm done with Postmates words. This has been Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. Thank you for listening to part 1 of Postmates. Contractor, I can't remember what this is called. Part 1 of Fleet Agreement. Part 1 of Postmates Fleet Agreement, effective April 3rd, 2019. Ciao.